Right, well, obviously, I'll be doing these NRL squad videos and my views on their upcoming season, and what each side's got, and I'm going to focus on South Sydney and the Rabbitohs. Now, I noticed when I was looking online that there hasn't been a lot of signings yet. Half the squad has come in either last season or the season before, and the rest of the squad has been there for a while. So let's have a look at a few key players. Greg Inglis returning to training. Now, I did a video on Greg Inglis returning to training about a month ago. Now, last season he really badly hurt his knee. Did his ligaments in. So he's had a knee injury. And then it turned out as part of his, when he was out, he got depressed. And it's going to happen. He had some mental health issues. That's your daily grind and you can't do it, it does take an effect on people. So he was very unwell, and it's good to see him back in training. So he's back in training, so at least he's fit enough to train. Whether he starts the first game of the season or not is yet to be determined, but he's back training. Then you've got the three Burgess brothers. You've got Sam and the twins George and Tom. They've been at the club now for a long time as well. Now these four players all won grand final together. And the Burgess brothers, they are much maligned at times with some of the ball handling errors they have and some of the penalties they give away, but you can't deny that they put in 110% every game. And then you've got Robbie Farah coming over from West Tigers a couple of years ago. He had a very good World Cup, played in the halves, so there may be a new role for him. And you got to look at Farah and whether he can play alongside Adam Reynolds, for one, because that's interesting. And he's also played more minutes at hooker now, so he's been a shrewd signing. The fact that they didn't have a very good season last year, there could be any number of reasons why their form wasn't great, but they finished above other teams. There's four other sides who are worse than them, so it's not as if they had a complete disastrous season. I think they need to possibly tweak the squad. They have a good squad, it's just lacking depth in various positions apart from these big names that I'm mentioning. One standout player, Angus Crichton, I can't remember. I think it's pronounced Crichton, but it's spelt Crichton. I'm pronouncing it phonetically. He had a breakout season. He was a diamond in the rough, as in he is the future of this team. He is the future Sam Burgess. He is the future Greg Inglis, because they've developed him. He's exploded onto the scene. He was probably their best player. He was their best player, I think, for the whole season. I think it's Crichton. Correct me if I'm wrong. He was their best player. Now, he is young, so there's a lot of expectation. We have to temper it a little bit. But he played so well. Even in defeat, he was putting up good meters, tackle busts, tries. He was really putting a shift in every night, every game. And that's a star to watch. Also, they've signed a guy called Connor Tracy. Now, he hasn't made his debut yet, so obviously that's the only signing they've made that I can see, Connor Tracy, from Cronulla, I believe. So that's a young talent. We shall have to see what he does. But looking at the core that they have, it's an issue if Greg Inglis gets injured again, that's an issue. If any of the Burgess brothers get suspended or injured for lengthy periods of time, that's an issue. Robbie Farah, wrong side of 30 now. So their leadership group is key. And if any one of them was to get an injury, that really throws it badly. I'm not saying it will happen, but if any of them were to go down injured, that would be a problem. Or to get suspended, or... So they've got to hope that Crichton really comes on and takes on that leadership responsibility and develops. They've really got to hope that he does well. Adam Reynolds needs to have a better season. He needs to be more consistent and needs to tweak his game slightly. And you can always improve. It doesn't matter, how old a player is. They can always improve, because the Roosters are so far ahead of them now. And that's their city rival, that's their big rivalry. If the Roosters are streaking ahead, that's going to anger the Bunnies. So it's going to be interesting to see what both the big Sydney clubs do. but we'll have to wait and see. There are other things in play at the moment, and there are, players being transferred and signed. There is still time to do that, and there's a few controversial issues going around the NRL. So with South Sydney staying reasonably stable in their squad, it now comes down to developing those younger players like Crichton and making sure that the Burgess brothers are all fit, and making sure that Greg Inglis is fit, because Greg Inglis is a key leader in this side, and it's very important that his fitness is up to scratch. The fact that Robbie Farah had a great tournament with Lebanon in the World Cup, if he can take that confidence into South Sydney, hopefully, even though he's towards the second half of his career now, it might help him kick on and help the side. So I'm not overly worried about South Sydney, but they're not the team that won the grand final. They're not going to win the grand final again unless there's some miraculous strike of fortune. But as we've seen before, injuries can play a part. We've seen it with Paramount getting docked points and Gold Coast getting into the playoffs that year. Dag finals, but Dag can have a part. Suspensions, all sorts. Anything can happen from game one. And that's where Greg Inglis went down last season, was the first game of the season. Hurt his knee. So injuries can play a part. Other sides can just have a loss of confidence, loss of form. So I don't think the Rabbits will be at the bottom of the ladder. Their aim is to improve, but I see this more as a transition period for them. Some of the squads around them in the league ladder where they all finish, Newcastle look very exciting. Very exciting. West Tigers, if their new signings can gel with the squad, they look exciting, and they just got to hope the off-field stuff calms down a little bit and that squad can go forward. The Warriors, yes, they've lost a bit of experience as well, and they're in a similar position where it's sort of like they're transitioning between an old guard and a new guard. But again, I'm not writing them off, not at all. Gold Coast, I think, with the Jared Hayne thing, Jared Hayne, that's damaged them. They look like the bottom feeders to me, and the other teams around all look very exciting. One or two of them might squeak into the top 8. This is where we've got to look at every squad. Well, I don't see South Sydney being at the top end of the table. I see them being competitive, but they don't. With such a small core there, and very few standout players, and only one or two players coming through that are just lighting up the league last year, they just look average mid-table. I'm not saying it's going to be good, it's not going to be bad. They will have some good results, they will have some bad results. You're not going to win every game, we know this, but I don't think they're ready to challenge just yet. A couple more signings and see how some of their younger players in the New South Wales and Queensland Cup sides, if they come through from second and reserve grade, when they do get an opportunity, we have to have a look and see how they do. Because right now, they've got an average squad, a solid squad, not laced with the same talents that won the grand final. That is now 4 years ago. As of next year, it's 3 years ago as of this year. So they've got to stop living in the past. And it took a long time for them to get to that grand final. There was a lot of barren years. I don't think this side's going to have barren years ahead, but this year, keep building. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I know that's going a little bit longer than I thought, but there's a lot to talk about there. They do need to keep building from where they were to where they want to be, and they've got to bring people like Crichton through and more players along with him. Because it's all well and good having one stand-up player, but he's a forward, he's not a back, so he's going to do a lot of ball carrying, a lot of hit-ups. He's going to be like a Sam Burgess kind of role. And, you're going to need a bit more than just that, I'm afraid. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. There is some positive signs for South Sydney, it's just whether they can build it. Please like and subscribe, place your comments below, and I'll have some more videos for you later today.